Here you go.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this Transfer Abroad to Royal Road University info session. My name is Kelly, and I am the program coordinator for Study Abroad program at San Mateo County Community College. Joining us today, we have Chikako Walker. She is interim director of international program, and we have Vivian Tran joining us from Canada. She's from Royal Road University. Today, she'll be talking about the program offered at Royal Road University, transfer requirement, application timeline and process, tuition and fees, scholarships. So stay tuned. Um, Next, we'll have Chikako to welcome everyone to this info session.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I am so excited to present this info session to you, students and counselors. My name is Chikako Walker. I'm the acting director of international education, and I actually had an honor of visiting very beautiful Royal Road University in Victoria, Canada last year. So it's a wonderful campus. They have great program. I believe this is a wonderful opportunity for all of our students at FMCCCD. I'm not going to bring Vivian's presentation here because she has a lot more to say about her school. And we'll be recording this session, and after the session, we'll be sharing the recording and the presentation slides with you. So stay tuned. And without further ado, I will pass the baton over to Vivian from Royal Road. Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you. Thanks, Chikako. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, everyone who took time out of your busy day today. I'm just going to share my screen. Am I sharing the right screen? Okay. How does that look?
Looks good.
Okay, great. So I'm just here to tell you about the pathway that we have with the colleges in San Mateo County. So we have, this applies to all three, Cañada, College of San Mateo, and Skyline College. My name is Vivian Trin. I work in global partnerships at Royal Roads University in Victoria, Canada. This is our campus. This is the centerpiece of our campus. It is a beautiful, magical place. And let me just tell you a little bit more, but before I do, before we start our events, we like to acknowledge the traditional lands that our campus is located on. These lands have been stewarded and taken care of by the Lekwungen speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. And this is very common for us to do at Royal Roads in Victoria, BC, Canada, and I'm sure many other places around the world. And just to express our gratitude to have this beautiful place to connect with our colleagues and friends. So I just want to express my gratitude for this land. So on the map where we're located, I do want to keep this casual. So if there are any questions, please, someone can chime in and interrupt and read out the questions in the chat. I'm happy to just keep this as a very casual conversation. I guess the first question people usually wonder is where we're located. We are located on the far west coast of Canada. So we're all on the west coast here. We are on Vancouver Island. It is a very large island, which is actually comparable to the size of Taiwan and the Netherlands. And we're just on the southern tip. The two major cities closest to Victoria are Vancouver and Seattle. So to get to Vancouver, it's a 90-minute ferry ride. And to get to Seattle, there's also a ferry that connects the two cities, and it takes about 2 hours. So it is a very unique location. The island itself and the landscape is a really big part of the Victorian identity. It's a beautiful natural place, lots of outdoor adventures, outdoor escapes, but the city has a lot of urban features, great restaurants, and it is a relatively small city. The population is 350,000 people, but it's a very vibrant city. We have 2 universities and a college here, so a big student population. And Victoria is actually the capital of British Columbia, so we have a lot of government industry here as well. Other things about Victoria and Vancouver Island, it is a very popular tourist destination, both for Canadians and international visitors. We have a cruise ship terminal, so we see a lot of cruises, especially the Alaskan cruises will come through here or start here. And we are, as I mentioned, a government city, an education city. The tech sector is quite large here, which is why we've been voted as Canada's smartest city, and also a really welcoming and safe place, and an excellent place for newcomers as well, and for young professionals. Recently, we've been voted as best small city, number 3 friendliest city, and number 8 best city for food in Condé Nast Traveler. So we're quite proud of Victoria, and it is definitely an honor and privilege to live here. And the other bonus is that we do have the mildest climate in Canada. Many people, when they think of Canada, it's snow-covered and really cold, and that is quite true in the winter for many parts. I grew up in the prairies, so that was, minus 40. I don't know my Fahrenheit. I didn't convert that, but I did last minute do some Fahrenheit conversion. So our winter averages at 42 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 6 degrees Celsius. And summers don't get too hot at about 25 degrees Celsius, which is about 77 Fahrenheit. So it's nice and mild. We've seen a bit more snow this winter, and there's actually still a little bit just melting away, which has been odd. But when I say mild, it's by Canadian standards. I'm starting to find it to be cold. I've been here for too long. Our campus, like we've mentioned a few times, is just such an incredible place, and I really want to welcome you here, even if you're not planning on coming to Royal Roads. If you have the opportunity to visit Victoria, our campus is located in a National Historic Site, so it's a really famous tourist destination. So if you find yourself in this area, come visit us. And I'm just going to give you a quick video so you can take a little tour around our campus. There it is. That's our campus. And a little bit about Royal Roads University as a whole. We are a public university. We started in 1995, so we are relatively new. And our vision as an institution is to inspire people with the courage to transform the world. I always like to share this vision because I think it's really bold and it's a great reflection of how we learn at Royal Roads. We're not scared to push the boundaries and be innovative, think outside the box, and it takes a lot of boldness and courage to be able to transform the world. And we do this through an emphasis on applicable skills. So theory is the foundation of a lot of our learning, but really bridging that gap on how we apply our theory into the real world and really gain those valuable practical skills so that when we're working, we have that knowledge and experience. And sustainability as well as change making are the common themes in all of our programs. So it doesn't matter if you're studying communications or tourism or business, there's always going to be a sustainability lens. And in terms of change making, we always take like a change making approach, which is really looking at social innovation and being leaders in making the world a better place. We are a designated Ashoka U Changemaker campus, so we are part of a network of campuses worldwide, universities and colleges worldwide, that have been recognized for our change-making work. We are a relatively smaller institution as well, so we have about 5,000 students, of which 1,400 are international students. And our programs are mainly in the field of business and social sciences. So we don't have the engineering or healthcare type of programs. And we have programs in undergraduate and graduate programs, including doctorate as well. So when we started in 1995, we actually started as an online university. So I can only imagine what online learning looked like in 1995. It is much better now, I am sure. So initially, we were designed to help working professionals upskill. So that's why it was all online learning. But now we have many programs that are delivered on campus, and we also have blended programs where you're studying mainly online, and then you'll come to campus maybe once or twice throughout your program for an intensive residency that usually lasts 1 or 2 weeks. All of our programs are cohort models, so you're studying with the same group of students from start to end. And this is a really great way to build your community, and many students come out of it with really strong connections to their cohort. I actually am an alum of Royal Roads University, and I graduated about 5 years ago in the MA in Intercultural and International Communication program, and still very connected to my cohort, even though we studied blended, so everyone's spread across the globe. So transfers into our undergraduate program, I like to say, is quite straightforward. We actually designed our undergraduate program so that it could transfer easily from colleges. We were basically filling this gap for the college market, where students come out with their associate degrees, but maybe they decide, oh, I want a university undergraduate degree. So we wanted to make this process simple. So one of the ways is we do a block transfer. So a typical undergraduate program in Canada is 4 years. We recognize diplomas and associate degrees as completing year 1 and year 2. So you can go directly into the 3rd year, and you don't have to say, oh, I'm 6 credits short or whatever, I need to take the summer course and all this stuff. Well, you can start right in year 3 and then just continue your learning from there. So at Royal Roads, you'll be studying year 3 and 4 of an undergraduate degree with us. And some of our programs, year 3 and 4, have actually been condensed. And you can do those 2 years in 1 year. So this is especially helpful for those who are just really eager to get into the workforce with their credential. As I mentioned, we have multiple delivery options, so you can choose what suits you the best. Some people still need to work full-time. That's what I did. So I studied blended, where you can continue your regular life and add a little bit more to it, but it is possible. Or some of you may want to enjoy the benefits of studying on our campus and go on or through an on-campus program. And as I mentioned, the cohort model makes it actually very easy to register. I don't know how it is at your colleges, but I worked at a college previous to this, and before each semester starts, everyone's scrambling online to like register in their courses, and then it's full, and then you have to wait a full year before that one's available again. You're automatically registered in each semester because it's like a fixed menu each semester, which courses you need to take. So our pathways from the San Mateo County colleges to Royal Roads look like this. We're actually renewing our agreement right now. So the stuff online, all of this stuff is available on our website, but it does need a bit of an update. It's not that different. What we have added is the pathway to hospitality and tourism. So we recognize the business administration, associate in science for transfer, and the communication studies, associate in arts for transfer degrees. They can pathway into either of our 3 programs: our BA in professional communication, our Bachelor of Business Administration in innovation and sustainability, or our BA in hospitality and tourism management. So we are quite interdisciplinary. So some people might think like, oh, I'm studying communications, can I actually go into a business program? Yes, because business is not just about finance and marketing and accounting, and especially learning at Royal Roads, it's about all the systems that act together, and communication is a really important principle in a lot of business education. So is business in communication and all that. So we see the bigger picture and the interconnectedness of all of these disciplines. So that's why these pathways exist. And really, like, maybe you're in communication studies, and how great would that look if you decide to hold an associate degree and a Bachelor of Business Administration, for example. It's very diverse learning. So it's a really great way to enhance your learning and show your different skill sets. So our BA in professional communication is about moving solutions forward with clear and effective communication. This one, you'll work on professional writing, journalism, public speaking, digital communications, all in the larger context of like media and cultural studies. This program has 2 different types of deliveries. There's on campus or online. So if you study on campus, it is 1 year intensive. And then if you decide to study online only, you'll do this over 2 years, and you can continue with your job. You don't need to relocate to Victoria. In order to gain admission into this program, you need to successfully complete one of the 2 associate degrees, the business administration or the communication one, and you need to complete it with a minimum B average. The cost of this program is about 46,000 Canadian, which is the equivalent of about 34,000 US dollars. So this is for the entirety of the year 3 and year 4 of the program. It doesn't matter which duration you take, it's the same price. Our Bachelor of Business Administration in Innovation and Sustainability is a really unique program, and it is a business education that sharpens your vision for social environmental change. It's been recognized for a lot of it's received a lot of awards for its innovative delivery. It is project based. So in each semester, instead of taking, for example, 5 different business courses, you're working on a major project in a team collaborative environment, addressing multiple issues and oftentimes working with real clients in the community. So with this program, you're essentially coming out with already a portfolio of work that you've done that you can share with future employers. It's a very different way of learning, and I will say maybe it's not for everyone, but for those who really want to seek a more innovative approach to learning and business learning, this is a really great program, and there's a lot of collaboration and intercultural communication skills that come into play in this program as well. It can be completed in as short as 18 months or as long as 24 months. The reason behind that is that at the end of the program, there's a completion option. So your last 6 credits, you can either do an internship, a capstone project, or study abroad. And so depending on which completion option you take, it can be completed quickly or still within the 2-year time frame. And the requirements and costs are the same as the BA in Professional Communication for this program. And lastly, we have the BA in Hospitality and Tourism Management. On our website, you'll right now see there's 2 BAs in this area, which will actually be merging into this program this month. So you're getting some early news right now. So this program, you'll actually be able to specialize in year 4 in either international hotel management or global tourism management, with the common theme of building resilience and leading change in the tourism hospitality industry. This program is on campus only, and is 2 years. There's some internships integrated throughout the program as well. And the admission requirements are the same with the B average, but you also need 400 hours of related work experience. So some tourism hospitality experience, and 24 of the credits must be 2nd-year credits. So I know working is a really big question. I'd say most students now are working while they're studying, and also career planning. Like, this is why we go to school, so that we can plan for our future. So what does this look like at Royal Roads? There's a bunch of different aspects. So studying and working, you can choose to study online and work. You don't need to relocate. So we have a lot of students studying online. If you decide to study on campus, I'm assuming you'll all be coming on a study permit as an international student. And under this study permit, you can work up to 20 hours a week. In Canada, upon completion of your studies, for our undergraduate program, you are eligible to apply for a postgraduate work permit, which is eligible for up to 3 years. So you finish your 2 years, year 3 and 4 at Royal Roads, you can work full-time in Canada for up to 3 years. And then some people will choose some immigration pathways after that. Applied learning is a big piece of all of our programs. So it's not about getting your credential and then starting to connect it to the real world. We're doing it throughout the entirety of your program. There's lots of hands-on experiences with internships. So the BBA and our hospitality tourism program have internships. There's a lot of field projects, field trips, and we do a lot of team challenges as well, and working with community and working with clients in the community, helping them address some of their challenges. We have a very dedicated team of staff who will help you plan your career. So what do you want to do? What's your long-term professional goal? And we have a lot of really great resources. We do mock interviews, networking events. We'll help with your resume development. This is a really amazing team that works really, really hard. meeting with students, and its career planning starts from day one. So when you become a student at Royal Roads, you want to meet with these advisors and really map out your career. We also manage a student job board where we're listing jobs that we think are would be of interest specifically to RRU students and alumni. And we do individual career coaching as well as part of the career planning process. So another unique feature of Royal Roads is our flexible admissions. I mentioned some of our admission requirements. You know, you need to complete this associate degree, you need a B average. For some, you need work experience. You might not meet our standard admission. Maybe you don't have that B average, but you still really want to come study with us. You can apply through our flexible admission process, where we're looking beyond your formal education, because, you know, humans are more than what you see on paper. We'll look at your real life experience. Maybe you've had some volunteer work that you think can really contribute to your knowledge, and there's all the other informal learning that you've experienced outside of the classroom. We want to take that into account and make sure that, you know, maybe we don't want you to bypass this program because you just don't meet that standard requirement that we have laid out. In terms of costs beyond tuition, you'll need to apply. There's an application fee. Please connect with me if you are planning on applying. I am happy to pass over a fee waiver code to you. The application fee is about $70 US. And your tuition deposit is about $3,600 US. We do have scholarships. We have entrance awards for new students coming to Royal Roads, and that is usually around the range of $2,000 to $10,000. So $10,000 is about $7,300 USD. And then in-course awards means, like, while you're in the program, there's ongoing awards that you can apply for. And so our average scholarship that we're sending for entrance awards is about $5,000 and $2,500 for in-course awards. And that is it. I can keep talking. There's always so much to share, and but I know this was a lot of information. I really appreciate your time and your attention. And I know everyone's needs are very different, and I'm so happy to support people through this process, and I really encourage you to reach out. This is my email. If you want to talk more, if you have questions about it, you're not too sure how any of this works, you're not too sure which program's good for you, let me know. And like the other thing is, we also have a lot of master's programs. Most of our students are actually in master's studies as well. So maybe something you want to consider in the future.
Vivian, can I ask, in your email, what's that letter after the dot? Is that a 1?
Oh, it's a 1. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. It's kind of weird. It's because I had a student email, and then now I have a work email. So it's like, it sees 2 Vivian Trins in the system.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for the wonderful presentation. It's such a beautiful campus.
It is a beautiful place. We live in a beautiful world.
Yes. Well, now we're open the floor for questions. Feel free to ask questions.
Ask a question to begin, Vivian?
Yes, please.
Okay. I just wanted to understand if you can explain what's the difference between a study permit and a student visa.
It's the same. Yeah.
Oh.
I guess in Canada, we call it a study permit.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And if a student wanted to be, or an international student wanted to be in Canada, can they take their program all online?
Yes, you can study online. Most of our international students will choose to study on campus because that provides you with a pathway for a postgraduate work permit. So if you want to work in Canada following your studies, you need to study in an on-campus program. We have our blended programs, but those don't qualify because less than 50% of the courses are on campus only.
Thank you.
That's good to know, Vivian. And also,
Yeah.
like we talked about the part-time work for students on study permit, up to 20 hours per week. And this job doesn't have to be on campus, right? If my understanding is correctly, students can work any job anywhere as long as it's up to 20 hours per week.
Yes, that's right. And then on the scheduled breaks, so if you have a program that has summer break or whatever like that, you can work full-time during those scheduled breaks.
That's great.
Vivian,
Very flexible.
do U.S. citizens also need to apply for Canadian study permits?
Yes.
Okay. Canadians don't need student visas in the U.S.
No?
No.
I'm sorry. It doesn't matter like how long the study program is, you don't need a student visa?
They
No, we
need
don't.
what's called a Form I-20 from the hosting institution, but they'll get it as long as they get admitted to the college, and they just need their valid passport to enter the United States.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any other questions? Feel free to type your questions in the chat if that's more convenient for you.
Vivian, can you explain the process of how people apply for a study permit?
The study permit, so that is a good question. It's always changing. Right now, the government's introduced a few new measures so that they can track the applications. So for undergraduate studies, you'll need to apply to Royal Roads University. So one thing is you can apply while you're still studying at one of the San Mateo colleges. So usually kind of after your first year, you might want to start applying to Royal Roads for a conditional letter of acceptance. And once you get that letter of acceptance, then you'll submit a study permit application. And a new step that's been introduced is that you're going to need a letter from the institution saying that you are a student that's been accepted into the program. So these two pieces you'll need to submit in your study permit application. And then our application timelines are about 6 weeks right now, 6 to 8 weeks, depending. And then that's how it works. And then then you'll get your a decision will be made by whoever's reviewing your application, and then that's what you get when you decide to cross the border into Canada. There's like on the Canadian web, like the IRCC, the International Immigration, Refugee, Canadian Citizen Services website, it tells you, depending on your citizenship, how long a study permit application will take. And if you're an international student studying in San Mateo County right now, like you'll probably be applying for a study permit from the US versus your home country. So that might change like application times as well.
Thank you.
Hi, Vivian, I have a question. So for the enrollment, is that always in fall semester?
Not necessarily. We have right now, all of our programs kind of have different start times. And then there are some condensed programs, so there's no break. Some programs, there's like a fall semester, a winter semester, or a spring semester, and then a break in the summer. Our condensed programs, it just is ongoing so that you can finish it quickly. Yeah, all of our timelines are a bit different, but on the undergraduate field, I would say, yeah, typically you're looking at September and January intakes.
Thank you, Vivian.
Mhm.
Vivian, what kind of housing housing options are there for international students at Royal Roads?
That's a really good question. Unfortunately, we don't have housing on campus. We do have dorms that students can stay at temporarily. So when you first move here, you can stay for, a few days or a week or two. We have a homestay partnership. So if you're looking at staying with a local family, you can rent a room through them. And then we have our student services team that has all the resources for housing, but typically students are renting. There's a lot of resources out there to rent rooms, apartments. And Royal Roads is located in a really fast-growing community. So most of the rentals that people are looking at are typically around our campus. Housing has gotten more expensive over the last few years, and it can be a bit challenging finding housing, especially last minute. So if students are planning on coming to campus, it's really important to start planning ahead. And our student services team has a lot of really excellent online webinars that are offered regularly to help students plan and prepare to find housing here in Victoria.
Thank you. Vivian, how about transportation? Is it easy to get to Royal Roads public transportation, or is it more necessary to have a car?
We are serviced by several bus lines. The campus is quite spread apart. So from, the different bus stops that service the campus, there is still quite a bit of walking. Chikaka saw that. We have golf carts. Sometimes you can hitch a ride with the security driving around in a golf cart, but there's definitely you'll get your steps in.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, housing is a challenge everywhere, but if I remember our conversation correctly, it doesn't compare to what we have here in the Bay Area. So luckily for students, it's probably not a shocker.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's like good or bad, but we are all struggling with housing, I think, in this region. It is an attractive place to live, right? And with that, we need to build proper infrastructure, and there's a lot of work and conversations going into all of that. But there's currently, these are the options we have.
But it's great you have scholarships. So this is for both domestic and international students, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
It's open to everyone.
And did you also mention that this can be an upfront scholarship, or students have to go there, enroll, and then apply for the scholarship?
There's the entrance one. So I think it's once you're accepted, you can apply for that. We have a good application system where you'll get a list of all the scholarships that are open and that you're eligible for, and you just need to submit one application. Our financial aid and awards team are really great at supporting students through that process, but yeah, it's you'll get all that information once you're applied and accepted into Royal Roads.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Vivian. Looks
We
like
have a
there's
question in the chat.
Yeah. We have one question in the chat. So Amanda says, I am an international student. Can I transfer to Royal Roads from the United States, or does she need to go back to her home country?
In terms of getting a study visa?
I think, yeah.
Okay. I don't really know the answer to that, because I think it does vary from your citizenship. But I think typically you can apply outside of your home country. I would say you'll probably need to give it more time.
Vivian, what are your largest populations of international students?
It's always changing. You know, at one point we had a lot of students from China. Our programs are very diverse. We have students from India as well. We see a lot of students from Mexico and Latin America, Colombia, Peru, Brazil. We have students from Iran, Japan, Korea. So it is quite diverse. And we're seeing a lot more students from Nigeria. So it is always changing, of course, but it's just always really nice to see, you know, where students are coming from, and everything fluctuates with policy and outreach and where we're present.
Thank you.
So how does the transfer process work if a student is looking at transferring to a university?
I think Carlos can speak to that.
Just in general? Just in general?
Yeah, like if you're a student in, you know, one of our, like the business administration associate science degree, how does it work for the student if they're looking at a pathway?
So they would have to complete normally at least 60 units, and then that will consist of classes in general education and major classes. They can get an associate degree, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
That was actually a question that I have for you. Is it necessary for a student to have an associate degree to transfer to Royal Roads?
No, we're essentially looking for 60 credits.
Okay.
So the programs I shared with you are actually just our on-campus programs. We have a bigger array of undergraduate programs that are delivered online, a few more on-campus ones. These ones are the ones that pathway with the specific college programs, but we're quite open and flexible to students coming from other disciplines. Essentially, it's looking for the minimum 60 credits and a B average.
Thank you. What's the English proficiency that you use for international students? Like, is it TOEFL or IELTS?
We use IELTS.
Okay.
And it's typically 6.5 IELTS for admission. I mean, there's more that's listed on our website. I'm most familiar with the IELTS.
Thank you.
Vivian, I can't remember, do our students have to take one of those English tests to transfer to an institution, or if it's waived?
It's waived because they're studying in an English program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if they are transferring from my colleges, no IELTS required.
No.
That's great. Those tests are expensive. Okay, anything else?
What's the most fun things? What are the funnest activities to do in Victoria?
Good
Oh,
question.
good question. Yeah. If you're in Victoria, there's a lot of eating out. We have a lot of really great restaurants. But I'd say most people are really into the nature here. So a lot of hiking that's really easily to access. There's hiking in the city, lots of camping, really great trails, just a lot of opportunities to be outside.
Yeah, and yet you are very close to big cities too. I took a ferry from Victoria to Vancouver. It was a really nice ride, very comfortable. I don't remember how long it took, but didn't take too long. So if you wanted to go and hang out in a bigger city, there's always Vancouver nearby. And Seattle is not too far away, right? I think there's also a ferry from
Yes.
Victoria to Seattle.
Yes,
Or fly.
it's about 2 hours on the ferry. From our
Yeah.
campus, you can actually see the mountains in the Washington Peninsula.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, it's like from our campus to the peninsula, I think it's about 35 kilometers. So
Mm.
we're very close to
Mhm.
Washington State.
Yeah, great location. Okay, there's no more questions. We can wrap. Thank you, Vivian, for all the information. It's very helpful. And students, we're gonna be sharing the recording and then the presentation slides with you in case you wanted to look back. And I also put Vivian's email without her permission in the chat.
I'm happy to share my email. Don't you worry.
So feel free to reach out to Vivian directly if you have more questions, or feel free to reach out to me and me or Kelly at the International Education Office. Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you so much for organizing this. Thanks
Yeah.
to everyone, and hopefully we'll stay connected.
Yes, please do.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you, Vivian.
Bye.
Hope we can get at least one student from Skyline College to transfer to Royal Roads.